welcome to another episode of On the Air. I'm your host, Sydney Smith, and I'm here with Marcus Crowder, who is a strongman out of North Carolina. He is a rising star in the sport and most recently competed at World's Strongest Man for the first time this past year. Well, I know World's Strongest Man was just a few weeks ago, and that was your first appearance there. How do you feel coming on after that?
It was like, a lot of people have been asking me that. It's kind of like one of those, like, I got there, I felt like I was dreaming, and then I woke up when I got back home. So it was like amazing feeling. And especially getting paid to do it, like it was like overall,
Even
like, people were
better?
awesome. Yeah, like it was just maybe like the best experience of my life, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of different things, but it's like, I guess I came in on the right time too, because they had a lot of good things for the athletes. Like the athlete tent was awesome. They fed us. Like it was a great overall experience. So I'm actually feeling really good. I don't know if you have seen yet, I'm actually doing North Americas in July.
Okay.
So I'm pretty excited for that as well. So it's
Okay.
pretty very big comp.
So
And
what
first
is
time being
training?
outside the States.
Say that again?
It'd be the first time competing outside the States. So it'd be in
Okay.
Canada. Yeah.
Very cool. What does your training look like going into that, since, especially coming off of World's Strongest Man, there's not really that much rest time at all?
Mhm. Yeah, so right now I actually after Worlds I kind of like realized I need a little more help. I've been self-coached most of my career.
Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
did, yeah, so I was always like, I'm making the Worlds, and then after Worlds, kind of seeing how everything's kind of developed and need a little more help. I actually reached out to a guy that's kind of been around since the beginning of my strongman career. He's actually in Raleigh, so not far from me. His name's Isaac. Um, so right now I'm kind of letting him just kind of do my programming.
Mhm.
So I really don't. I take it day by day. I eat good, all that stuff. So I'm kind of just letting him do it respect. So I really don't know what training's gonna be like until that day I go to train.
That's crazy
So
that
right
you
now,
haven't had a coach so far.
yeah, I've been pretty lucky with that stuff. I'm kind of crazy. It's probably why I've been hurt so much. So
Yeah.
that's why I wanted someone that can be like, okay, hey, you don't have to go too crazy today. Let's back off a little bit. So I need
Mhm.
someone to kind of bring me back in.
Because you
So
started your strongman career in 2018, correct?
2016. So like I
2016.
had like little ups and downs. So like 2016, I did NC Strongest. And
Okay.
then I was getting ready for Strongman Cook Nationals. As I was getting ready for it, I tore my bicep. After tearing my bicep, I kind of was like, well, I don't need to be 330 pounds. Let me see what I like with abs. So I went from 330 down to 230, and took probably about a year off of Strongman.
Mhm.
And then I got the itch again. So then I did 2017 NC Strongest, qualified for Nationals. I was in Vegas, and then it kind of took off from there.
Yeah. You played football beforehand, though, correct? In
Mhm.
college.
Yeah, I played
How
actually
did?
at Costa Rica. So it's funny because Will Strongest Man was the first time competing, but it's also in Myrtle Beach, which is 20 minutes up the street from where I played football at.
Mhm. That is kind of cool.
So yeah, in my senior year, I don't know, not a lot of people know this, but I really like football. It was kind of something I just did because I was good at it.
Yeah.
Um, Plus a uh, free ride for college.
That's
But my
always
brother did it. He
better.
did really well. Yeah, it definitely helps out with that. So my senior year, I went through winter camp. I went through summer camp. We played our first game, and I was out there, and I was like, you know what? I don't feel like doing this anymore. So I went up to my coach that night and was like, hey, can I have a meeting with you the next day? He was like, yeah. So Sunday I went in. It was an off day. I went in there. I was like, hey, I'm just not feeling this anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. I was like, I want to actually pursue my career into strongman. 'Cause I know I couldn't do it during football. With having no idea of how to get into strongman. It's just one of those I always knew since like third grade that this is what I wanted to do. So I wasn't expecting that. He actually started crying and gave me a big hug and was like, wish me nothing but the best. And even my D-line coach wished me nothing but the best. We actually still keep in touch fairly daily. And it's an awesome experience to go quit football, close that door, and then open my Real Strongest Man door at the same place.
Yeah. Was that something you had been thinking about of ending your football career, or was that something that you literally just decided on a whim?
So my freshman year in college football, I've been in the strongest. Like I always like my dad opened a gym in like 1999. I was like,
Mhm.
I'm probably one of the people that can actually say I grew up in a gym. I was like 4 or 5 when I first been into the gym. I didn't really work out, but like it's definitely one of those like I've always enjoyed working out. Um, so I've always known after football I wanted to do strength sports. I did a little bit of powerlifting, but most of it was strongman. When I was in third grade, I saw on ESPN like Mark Spinozzi, Big Z, some of those guys like doing it, and I was like, that's what I want to do. Like I was like, I want to prove
That's
that I'm
so
one of the
cool.
strongest people. And luckily, growing up, I've always been the strongest. Like even when I played in college football freshman year, I was the strongest one on the football team. I actually got weaker when I played college football, just because
Really?
like yeah, the sport aspect was more like in and out. Where I used to be in the gym for like 2 hours. So it was one of those.
Yeah.
I was like the first one in the weight room, last one to leave, which my street coaches didn't like, but it's something like I've always done.
So
So
it's always been in your genes, you could say, for sure.
but yeah, pretty much. I always knew I wanted this life, and right now it's like it's kind of taking off. But I'm like, oh, this is even better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. I know you said
Mm-hmm.
that you lost some of your strength playing football, but in what
Mm-hmm.
ways did playing football transfer over to strongman, if at all?
I think a lot of ways, especially like movement events.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that we did for football was like a lot of fundamental stuff. So like just practicing your first step or just like kind of practice how you play. And I think that carries over so much to strongman because the more you can get under and do an event, the better off you're going to be. So basically the big fundamentals, footwork, all that stuff. I'm pretty good speed for a bigger guy, which I think football is what helped me carry over to that.
Yeah. Is there anything about the mindset from playing football that helps you in strongman?
I feel like I've always had like a crazy mindset where I say I'm gonna do something and then I eventually go out there and do it. I definitely think, I was a defensive tackle, so each position might be a little different. I was used to going against like 350-pound guys, 350-pound guys at a time. So it's one of those. I was in the trenches. So it's like I think you have to have a little different mindset to be in the trenches.
Yeah.
So I think the same thing with strong man, strong woman. Like you have to have a. No, I know it's probably the best way to say it, but you have to be a little bit crazy to want to do this
Yes,
sport.
for sure.
Yeah,
Especially at
like
that high level.
mm. So especially I tore my bicep, I tore my quad, and it's like one of those. I would do it over again for the experience I had at World's Strongest Man. Like
Yeah.
that's how fun it was.
There's some similarities with having your athletic career in football and strongman, but what would you say is your favorite part about being a strongman in general
Mm.
and
Honestly,
competing in the sport?
the fans right now was probably the most enjoyment I had at Worlds. I didn't expect it to be like that. Um, People coming from UK and like all over the world and just getting to know and meeting people and like them just saying like, "Oh, you're doing so great," kind of hyping me up. And I was like, "I'm not really doing as good as I want to do right now, but thank you so much." I could have said it at the time because I kind of came in a little hurt. But every strong man going into a competition is a little favorite. So it's like one of those like you just gotta go and take it. I'd say the fans was pretty cool. Being in front of the crowd, like I'm kind of like I really like attention like everyone else. So it's definitely one of those like I like to call myself like a show pony. So like
Yeah.
in training, like I'll push it in training. I definitely like take it to that next level. But competition, I feel like I'll take it even higher up into a level that most people are a little nervous to get to.
Yeah. Do you think you thrive more so under pressure and with the big crowd?
I think so. I think I enjoy it. I think I go in a different world. Like when I'm training, like it's more like peaceful. When I'm in the crowd and stuff, it's more like it's peace, but it's like dead silence to me.
Yeah.
So I know people are yelling. I know everything going around me, but it's like I go to a different place in my head that I love being. So it's like a adrenaline rush, I guess. Like jumping out of a plane. It's probably like the same kind of
Yeah.
thing like that, but
You've competed
even
in a
better,
lot
I
of
think.
different
So I'm
competitions
scared of heights, so I'm
since
not trying to jump out of a
2016,
plane.
whenever you started, and then
Yeah.
obviously most recently you competed at World Strongest Man. What would you say is the most nerve wracking moment in your strongman career thus far?
Nerve wracking. I mean, honestly, just going out there for the first event was a Denny Stone carry. So like just being on TV, knowing they're filming me, knowing I'm about to be a part of like CBS Sports or CBS, like that was kind of like, oh, I gotta do really good because I'm about to see like all these people about to see me. So it's like I'd say it's probably the more nerve-wracking spot at Worlds
Yeah.
because usually if you mess up at a regular competition, like you can record it and like post it, but like it's not gonna be everyone's gonna see like 1,000 times. So it's pretty cool to know that it's gonna be on there.
Yeah. I think it makes it a lot of better, especially too, because you really enjoy the crowd and
Yeah.
like there's that pressure, but it's also really fun to go out
Hmm.
and show like all the hard work that you've been putting in and be able to show it out there on the competition floor and have people cheering you on and all the new fans and everything, especially as you're getting more publicity as you're
Yep.
doing better and better throughout the sport. It just makes it more exciting to go out there every single time.
Yeah, pressure makes diamonds, so I'm trying to be a diamond.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
now you are pursuing strongman wholeheartedly, and I think it just gets more intense as the years goes on, and just seeing how well you're doing in the sport. How has pursuing strongman at such a high level impacted your life outside of the gym?
So luckily, like my life is the gym, so it's one of those like I'm here most of the day. I'm getting my food intake. Um, I'm trying to get my sleep the right way. I'm trying to dial everything in. I would
Yeah.
say more so with the higher levels of competition right now, like going to North America's, like there's gonna be a tough stat class. So this will be the first year that Worlds was tough. My next competition is gonna be tough, and then I got Giants Live in Las Vegas, which is gonna be even more tough than Flyweight was at Worlds, just because the group of guys are like guys that were in the finals. So it's gonna be one of those like it's basically got to be more dialed in now than I ever had because of recovery, nutrition, all that stuff's gonna play a huge part going into these next events. Because I've never been, I usually compete about 3 times a year. Now I'm
Mm-hmm.
competing like 3 big shows a year, like type thing. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you enjoy
So
what you're doing, I guess, now competing at a more and at a higher level better? Or is it like too
yeah,
much stress?
no, I'm loving it right now. It's one of those I feel like I'm more dialed in than I've ever been. I might be a little more stressed, but it's one of those I'm trying to
In a
cancel out
good
other
way?
stresses in life in a good way. Yeah,
Yeah.
more like an exciting type of stress.
Yeah.
Just because I want to keep going out there and proving that I have what it takes.
How do you
So,
find a balance between training and other responsibilities, even though that you said really just the gym and eating, that whole lifestyle is really kind of your whole life right now?
yeah. So I got really lucky. The people around me, like my manager, she's helped out a ton. She's actually helped me with my social media a little bit, so I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to like worry about social media as much because she's helped me like come up with ideas. She's actually the one posting, so that helps out a ton. And then as far as like the actual gym, she's actually pretty much running the gym for me as well. So I'm kind of just a pretty face in here that just shows up, works out, eats, uh, shoots the shoot, like just talking.
Yeah.
So I'm really lucky right now to have the people in my life that's helping out.
Now, does your dad at all come work out with you, since he was the one that kind of introduced you to strength sports, since
So
he did own the gym?
yeah, so my gym and his gym are kind of a little different. I call his gym like upscale Planet Fitness. So he's a little more.
Okay.
He's like, brings in like a lot of money, get why he does what he does. But I'm a little more hardcore over here, and he doesn't like
Yeah.
the hardcore. So he don't really train with me. He does more bodybuilding.
Okay.
So that's why I feel like my physique is kind of the way it is because I used to do a lot of like 5x5, a lot of like sets of 10 stuff like that when I was younger. Um, Probably a lot more overtraining than I should have did at those ages. Looking back, especially everything I know now as far as trying to get your one rep up. But he's definitely a big proponent of how I got to the point where I'm at now. But I also
Yeah.
say YouTube and like this, there's so much knowledge out there on the internet that the kids nowadays is going to be doing something crazy by the time they get older. Just because
Yeah.
there's so much knowledge out there that if they actually, read through the BS, like it's going to be like I think we're going to see some crazy stuff in the next couple of years of people coming up.
Yeah. And I think you too, having the platform that you have and just growing in the sport, like you might be able to help those younger to be able to accomplish things that they want to accomplish, and even things greater than
Mm,
all the guys in the sport now. What would you
yeah.
say is it that you hope to accomplish within your career as a strongman?
Uh, phew. um, Honestly, I haven't even thought about that really. It's just one of those I take it day by day. Um, I got like small term goals and then like kind of build it up. Like right now, like I went to Worlds, which was one of my huge goals that's been for a long time since I started the sport. So now that I hit that, now it's like okay, went to Worlds. Now I want to keep going to Worlds and work my way up, and hopefully one day, take that spot. So it's one of those like now I just keep on inching forward. I'm actually in the process of bulking up a little bit. I was a little lighter. Actually, I was probably lighter than I've been most of my strongman career at Worlds. Just
Really?
because a lot of things, yeah, I was like 320, 325. Usually I'm about 340. So it's just one of those like little things. Like I kind of find that happy medium, which I learned a lot. I start working more on my endurance then, but I think my endurance is good with certain spots. So it's just really just learning right now, and then eventually just get to a point where I can be able to help people later down the road.
Was that the weight that you were at World Strongest Man? Was that the weight that you were wanting to be at?
I didn't, I wasn't trying to lose weight. It was more so I wanted to clean up my eating. I love cookies, so it's one of those like I kind of cut that out. I had my I had my family a little bit, stuff like that. So kind of just fell off. Not really. I wouldn't say my choice is definitely one of those like um. I'm still trying like it's easy for me to gain weight and easy for me to lose weight. So cutting out
Yeah.
sweets definitely lost the weight. So now I'm kind of putting cookies slowly back in. Not as much as I used to, but a little bit more now here and there.
Cookies are always good. You gotta have some sort of balance,
Can't,
you know?
you can't beat it. Like it makes you happy, so shit. Why not?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have a very strong mindset, especially pursuing this at such a high level. And it's a day after day type thing. There's really like no time off, especially talking about how the amount of competitions that you're doing this year is increasing and they're all higher level competitions. So what would you say
Mm-hmm.
keeps you going?
Crazy. I'll be honest. I think I'm mad. Like as soon as I tore my quad, it was like, all right, what can I do now to get back in the competition? I tore my quad. 6 months later, I was doing America's Strongest Man in 2022. So that means like I had 12 weeks to let my quad heal, the tendon heal, and then I had a 12-week prep going into that, and that like, I think nuts. So that kind of keeps me going, and then just the love for the sport,
Yeah.
the love for like the challenge, I guess, the adrenaline. Like anytime I got hurt, like it's not being hurt that sucked. It's not being able to lift heavy. I love lifting heavy. I love how it feels. Like being sore the next day, love it. Like it's crazy. That's all I can
I
say.
think
I
you
think it's crazy.
definitely have to have a little crazy in you for sure, especially
Yeah.
at a high level. I think a lot of people
Mm,
are not willing to put in the work, first of all, and being willing to hurt, I guess.
yeah.
Um,
Just a little bit. You got
Consistently,
just a
yeah.
little bit hurt. Mm,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
So I kind of want to dive into AIRWAAV a little bit. You use AIRWAAV in
Mm,
your training and competing.
mm.
Can you share some of how you were introduced to AIRWAAV to begin with?
Yeah, I actually received the PX1 from y'all after America's Strongest Man. And then y'all eventually reached out. I think I've been about 3 or 4 months. I've been using it. I love it. It definitely. I've used other mouthpieces before, but the way this actually molds in my mouth, a place for the tongue, it's definitely a unique mouthpiece where it's there, but it's not there to me. 'Cause I
Yeah.
usually, I'll be honest, I keep it in during the whole workout half the time, and not even realize it's in, just because I'm too lazy to take it in and out. Um,
Yeah.
so it's definitely something I'm glad that y'all came to me and said, hey, try this out, let's do it. And I was like, hell yeah.
There are several different mouthpieces that you said that you've tried. How would you compare AIRWAAV to those?
I think Airway is not as bulky, and yeah, it's still. I have a really like I like to like really bite down. I've had a mouthpiece before where I actually bit through it. I was like, I won't ever use this one again. But these, I put through the test. I bite really down, especially when I deadlift, and it doesn't even budge really, which I personally love that.
Let's take your deadlift, for example. How are you able to tell a difference whenever you put the AIRWAAV in?
It's one of those, like I said, like the biting down, but also having a place for the tongue. Like it's one of those, like I feel like I'm more secure. It gives me pretty much like less things I got to think about because sometimes I get nervous, like if I don't know if I'm not biting down and have a place for my tongue, like I get nervous, I might bite down on my tongue.
Yeah.
So it definitely helps take that factor out. Especially like I get a lot of bloody noses too, so having something that's going to like actually keep me in mindset of keeping my mouth shut, then less blood in my mouth. So that actually works out really good.
Now, do you do any cardio type of training as well, or are you basically just strength
Yeah, so
training?
I do a lot of strength training, but I mean cardio wise, I do a lot of low impact stuff for like 25 minutes, and then sometimes I'll do a little more like hit training on the fan bike and the airwheel.
Is there a certain type of workout that you like to use AIRWAAV on as opposed to another?
I mean, I use it for everything. It's just one of those like I'm one of those. As soon as I got used to a mouthpiece, I like having it, especially when it helps me breathe out my nose a little more too. Because having the mouth closed, like I kind of get that nose breathing method that's supposed to help lose weight supposedly. But I'm trying to
Yeah.
like lose a bit of fat while like bulking up at the same time. So I'm trying to take every like advantage I can get.
Do you think using the AIRWAAV mouthpiece would have been helpful whenever you played football?
Yes, I do. Because I always had I didn't mold my mouthpieces before playing football, so it was always like the bulkier, like one that you kind of hang to your helmet. I think these would actually be perfect for that because I wouldn't notice it's in there, and I wouldn't have to take it in and out as much. Like I like kind of like just leave it in my mouth.
Yeah.
So
You had a
even
lot of
drinking water and stuff.
yeah. I
Mm,
definitely, whenever I'm using it too, like I hadn't had any experience with wearing a mouthpiece before in just the sports that I did. So it took me a
mm,
little bit to get used to it, but then like I'm still able to talk with it in. can still drink
yep.
water. Like it's
Mm,
not restricting to anything that I'm doing at all.
yep. No, I pretty much do my whole workout and have it in my mouth, or even on the side. Like even on the side, I kind of like to have something to bite down on.
Yes.
So like stuff like that, it works out perfect.
I also think too, like with me, even if I'm nervous a little bit, I know I clench my jaw a lot, and so having
Mm,
that in there, I think
yeah,
helps
give you some like,
even a little bit mentally as well, besides
oh
just
yeah,
the performance aspect of it.
yeah. I think mentally aspect too, just having like that the security of it. I think
Yeah.
helps out. So it gives you something to kind of fidget with without people knowing.
You had tried several different mouthpieces in football and then even in strongman afterwards. So you had like some experience with molding it and really just using a mouthpiece in general. Did it
Hmm.
take you any time to get used to AIRWAAV, or was it a pretty seamless?
No, I think I watched the video. Took me like what 2 minutes to mold it, and then after that, I was good to go. It didn't take no time to get used to it.
Yeah,
I'm a little more like laid back with certain stuff, but I feel like I'm not too picky. Like it's one of those like I kind of like do certain things. But I did notice how much difference this was compared to the other ones as far as like molding process. Took 2 seconds, and then because usually I'm kind of lazy with the molding process because most of the time I usually don't mold it, but this mouthpiece like easy to mold, fit right in, good to go. Like the next day, like it's like I've been using it forever.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a very seamless process and not hard to do at all.
Mm-mm.
So I would say there are still many strength athletes who don't wear a mouthpiece, but if we take AIRWAAV out of the conversation overall, why would you say that strength athletes should wear a mouthpiece in general?
So one of the big reasons I started using it is I got it in a goodie bag at Arnold Classic 2018 for Strongman Amateur Corp. Um, and I was kind of against it, but then when I used it, I could actually notice like I felt more balanced, I felt more secure. And it's one of those I don't think I realized how much I bit down until I actually used one. That was the first one I ever had, and that's actually the one I bit through
Yeah,
within like I don't know like 2 months of actually using it. So it's one of those like knowing that I bite so hard that like grinding your teeth. If you're like a big teeth person, like I think a beautiful smile goes a long way, so don't mess up your teeth. So I think a lot of that is if you never used a mouthpiece before, at least for the grinding purposes of it, you should definitely use it. But as far as the performance, it helps a ton, especially everybody's like I would highly recommend if you don't use one to use it.
that's how I was too, because I didn't realize how bad I clench down whenever I'm lifting,
Mm-hmm.
or even on any of my cardio pieces, just like not being aware of like where my tongue is sitting
Yep,
and just restricting
yep,
my airway in that way. And then whenever
yep.
I tried it, eventually gradually implementing it into my routine, I was able to not only protect my teeth, but then also breathe better. And now I
Breathe better.
don't do
Mm-hmm.
any lifts or anything without it in because I feel like I'm missing something.
Yep. You feel naked, so it's
Yeah.
definitely like that motto. Yeah. So
So
definitely, I think it's definitely a key opponent. So I definitely highly recommend people using it.
you kind of touched on it some, but if you were to summarize it, what would be your biggest reason to trying AirWave out?
Biggest reason, biggest reason I would say is there's so many different reasons. So it's like one of those
You
depending
can
on
give
the
a
aspect of
few.
what you want to do. Yeah. So depending on what you're trying to accomplish, um, I don't think people realize how important one to be able to clench down, but two to be able to breathe while you're clenching down. So having a place for the tongue, I think it's a huge help. Um, at Worlds, I feel like when I was using it. I don't think breathing was an issue for me. I think I lost also more muscular endurance before my actual cardiovascular was the issue, and I think that's more so because of the mouthpiece, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yes,
So it's
for
one of those
sure.
like most sports you need to be able to breathe, especially in strongman, but even like anything almost. I mean, a powerlifting you might not be able to breathe much, but like it's like one of those why not still use it though if it gives you that little extra bump.
Yeah, definitely going to get more benefits overall no matter what type of sport you're
Mm-hmm.
doing, even if it's not even a strength
Yep.
sport, but like
Yep.
football, even for instance.
Yep. football. I mean, even everyday use. Like even if you're like someone that doesn't want to like go that extra distance. This is one of those. If it helps, 10%, 1%,
Might
do
as
it.
well.
Might as well.
Yeah. Well,
hmm
perfect. I really enjoyed hearing all that you had to share about AIRWAAV and just how much you enjoy using it into your training and competing, and then also some of your story, especially as you're rising in the sport. And I think you're going to do really
Oh,
well in the future. So I'm excited to see
thank you.
what the future has in store for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, yeah, that's really it. I thank you
All
for
right.
taking the time to talk with me
Oh,
today. I
thank you.
really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Marcus.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's all for today's episode of On the Air. Thank you all for listening, and thank you, Marcus, for joining me. Be sure to stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to purchase your own AIRWAAV mouthpiece if you want to break your best and unlock your full athletic potential. If you've made it this far, be sure to use code OTA15 for 15% off your next purchase. Drop any questions that you have about AIRWAAV in the comments below, and see you next time.